everybody, and welcome to the latest episode of the Raving Patients Podcast. As you know, I'm your host, Dr. Len Tao. I hope everybody's doing well. I'm super excited today to have someone that I've known for quite a long time. We'll talk about how long in just a couple of moments here. I'll have the guest kind of bring that up. But we had met at SCN a couple of years ago, and then we saw each other at SCN. For those that don't know what SCN is the Speakers Consulting Network. It's a meeting put on by Lois Banta, usually in June of every year. And the speakers and the consultants get together and they do networking and they meet and they chat. And so I met this woman, a couple of years ago again, or reconnected with her. And this year, she had written a book. I invited her to be a guest so we can learn her expertise and learn more about what she does. So today I want to welcome Laura Nadler to the Raving Patients Podcast. Laura, thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me, Len. I really appreciate it.
So Laura, let me let the listeners know and the viewers know what we're going to be talking about today. So we're going to be focusing this episode on, the episode's called, Are You Ready for Your Close-Up? So we're going to be talking about video marketing, the need for it in the practice, what it does for the practice. We're going to talk a little bit about what to do if you're not comfortable in front of a camera, as Laura and I have discussed many times. The key videos you should have, how do they reflect your brand, when to use them, how often to use them. Those are some of the things that we're going to be talking about today. So, and just to really brief intro for Laura, and then Laura will kind of introduce herself. But Laura is the founder of WorkingCat Marketing, which helps dental practices go from found to 5 stars. I like that.
Thank you.
She's been in the dental space since 1993 and speaks internationally on marketing, including at the ADA, the ACP, Tufts, and Boston University. She's the author of Lights, Camera, You, a practical guide for creating and using video to market your practice. Here's a copy of the book. Woo-hoo. She gave it to me when we saw each other a few weeks ago. So Laura, why don't you let people know, one, you can introduce how we met each other, and introduce yourself and talk about kind of what you do nowadays for dentists.
Absolutely. So I go back with Len to 2012, I think, maybe even earlier than that. It feels like a million years ago. I used to work in sales in the dental space, and I was the VP of sales at Chase in their healthcare financing. And probably one of my best team members, Monet. Do you remember Monet?
Monet Barkley, sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
She was your rep. So I had come into your office. We were selling patient financing. So I always feel like there are 50 of us in the dental space, and we all just keep bumping into each other. So that's where we first found each other. And then later, after I left working for other people and started working for myself, one of my clients was Pride Institute, and I was handling their marketing. And you were a Pride client, correct?
I was. For a short period of time, I used to work with Pride. Yep.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, Monet, she worked for Care Credit, she worked for Chase, she worked for Invisalign. So Monet, I've lost contact with Monet over the years, but I now give a workshop because I really really grasped the advantages of using third-party financing in my office. So now I give a workshop called The Art of Dental Financing, where I teach dentists and team members how to really take advantage of the various amounts of third-party financing available, because there's so many companies. Obviously, Care Credit's still the big one and the behemoth in the industry, but there's 10, 15, 20 other companies that offer other options and cheaper rates and better options for people who have less than ideal credit. So that's what I've been doing now. So it's funny. We met with Chase, and now I'm doing some stuff with financing myself.
Yeah, no, it's huge, and it's a necessary thing. We even talk about that when we work with clients in terms of marketing, that from found to 5 stars. Part of that 5 stars is once you get them in the practice, are you keeping them, and how are you keeping them? And removing the finance barrier is a big piece of it. Because they can come for their first visit and never come back again because it was a $12,000 treatment plan and they have no idea how they're going to pay for that. So 100%. People don't think of financing as marketing, but it absolutely is. It's part of the process.
100%. If people come in, one of the first things I talk about with them is their expectation about financing, how they expect to pay for things, because that's a big barrier in the patient's mind. And if they know that something can be affordable, they're more likely to be able to relax in the chair and actually say yes to treatment. That's a big thing I talk about because it's very early in the conversation. So why don't you, I know you obviously introduced yourself very briefly there. Why don't you talk about how you got into this whole video marketing? Because that's, there are a couple of companies, there are a couple of people who focus on videos. One of my friends in the industry, his name's Pete Johnson. Pete runs a company that used to be called Get Practice Growth. Now it's called Lasso MD. And a lot of their focus in marketing is doing video marketing. And I've been a huge fan of video marketing. I've had videos all many years. I've done videos because I think it's obviously a big key to getting the attention of the viewers and the people looking for information. So talk to us about how you got involved in the video side of things and a little bit more about the effect video has on not only the practice but the people looking at the videos.
Sure, absolutely. So I kind of came into video through years of working with clients on all the other aspects of their marketing. So if you say to a practice, well, I need you to be on Instagram, their answer is, oh, sure, fine. My dental assistant uses that every day. She knows exactly how to use it. Same thing with Facebook, all of the platforms that people use in their real lives. But the minute we would get up to, okay, and now we need to create videos for your practice, I would get this blank stare. Or they'd look at their shoes and just hope I went away. Because it's like, no, lady, I don't do video. It's so outside of the comfort zone of most people. I mean, you and I are sitting here looking at cameras right now, and it's still weird. And we do this for a living, but it's still weird. When you say that to a dental practice, they want nothing to do with it. So I found that a lot of time I was spending with practices was exactly on that. How do we get your videos produced? Why do you even need them? All that sort of stuff. And the reason it was my first book was I could have written about any of the things that I do with clients, but it was obvious that video was the biggest hurdle for them. It's the one place where so many of them would say, okay, I need to stop because I'm not sure how to do this. And it drove me crazy because I used to work with a tech company that did Google Ads in the dental space. In fact, I started their dental division. And we would hear it from Google all the time. You know, if there's video on the homepage, we're going to serve that up higher in search engines. People spend more time on a site that's got video. All of these things that told us video was the way to go, and yet practices didn't want to do it. So for me, it became, okay, this is now my mission. You guys can Instagram and Facebook all you want. I know you will. You just need a little bit of coaching there. Let's talk about how to actually create videos and why you need them. So that's what kind of brought me to this place. So many doctors will say to me, you know, oh, I want to talk about my SEO. How's my SEO? I don't rank well. And I look at them and I say, when's the last time you did a video? Because honestly, we don't think of it as a thing that affects your SEO, but it does tremendously. So from a nitty-gritty background search standpoint, having video on the website is essential for you to rank well. But then, and you asked about this earlier, from okay, how does it impact the person who's viewing it? For me, for any patient, really, yes, your degrees on the wall, those are awesome. But if I don't connect with you, if I don't kind of see who you really are, I'm not as likely to go to your practice as someone who is giving me that information. So as a prospective patient, I want to know who you are. And the best way for me to see that is video.
Gotcha. Now that makes a lot of sense. And like I said, I am a huge fan of video. I've been doing it for years. I think video really captures the attention of the audience. And if you can engage them and keep them engaged on your website for even a longer period of time, I think the chance of converting them is increased significantly. So I think that's one of the biggest advantages, and a lot of people don't do it. So I think if you can really focus your attention on videos, it really separates you from your competitors who aren't doing video.
Absolutely. And I even look at a couple of years ago as we were building clients' websites, it became a very big thing to have that big home image be some sort of video. But a lot of times, because if the client wasn't comfortable creating video, they'd sort of get a generic thing, you know, a waves crashing or something that reflected where their practice was. And it's like, yeah, that's nice, but that's not the kind of video that keeps people engaged. It's a difference between a video that tells a story and just a picture that's moving. And my big focus with video is tell your story. Your practice is different from the practice up the street. It's probably different than it was 10 years ago. Tell that story in your videos.
Yeah, 100% agree with you. It's all about telling a story in the videos, 100% so. I want to get one of the biggest monkeys off my back first here, which is, and I'm one of them, and we've had this conversation. I can speak to audiences. You put 300-400 people in front of me, I'm perfectly fine talking. You put a camera in front of my face, and I can barely speak. So when I showed you beforehand to my left here, I actually have a teleprompter because I do record lots of videos, but I find that if I don't use a teleprompter, I stumble across my words. So, and that's why I think most dentists, say, did she say videos? I'm not interested in videos. So how do you are most of them using teleprompters? Do you use a teleprompter to get them comfortable? Talk about that for people listening and says, well, I hate video and I'm not comfortable in front of a video, where some people are super comfortable. Talk about that whole being comfortable in front of the camera.
Sure, absolutely. I do not use a teleprompter myself, so kudos to you that you have made that investment. I also don't teach my clients to use them. Again, for most of my clients, video is a new thing, and it's not something they're going to make those types of investments in. But I do, we are a professional per video company, so we send a team out. We have someone there to do lighting. We do all that for professional video. But we also teach them, even when you're making your own, the way to be comfortable, particularly in what I call the meet the videos. And I know we're going to talk about the videos you have to have, but let's use an example, meet the doc. So we're going to meet Len today, and you're going to do your meet the doctor video. And I want that to feel like an interview, because that's going to be more comfortable for you. So the way we train all our offices is you're going to be sitting facing the camera, but you don't necessarily have to be looking it in the eye, like I'm looking at the camera in the eye now. I can be looking over here at Len, who I'm talking to. Whenever you see a celebrity interview, they are almost never looking at the camera. They're just off center looking at whoever's speaking to them. And you want to be able to ask the questions ahead of time. I don't like scripted answers. Everybody can read a script a mile away. If you're reading from a script, everybody knows it. But I want you to be familiar with what the questions are. So I tell every practice, tell me who you are. Hi, I'm Dr. Len, and this is my practice. Then tell me a story about why you became a dentist. Maybe that you were 4 and some dentist got you past a fear, or maybe your teeth were this jumbled picket fence and an orthodontist changed your life. Tell me that story. And then tell me something about what you do when you're not an amazing dentist. Whether, you go spelunking or hang gliding or whatever your thing is that you're passionate about, tell me that. But have somebody off camera who's asking you the questions. So instead of you just having to self-start all of those statements, you're answering someone. Because then it's like what you and I are doing now, and it's just a conversation, and that's much more comfortable.
No, like I said, even doing that, so when I record my videos for my YouTube channel, I have a woman I'm doing it with, she's on Zoom because she's not with me, and she's asking the questions, and it's like I'm slurring my words. I'm struggling to get the words out there. So it's something I've been working on for years. I still remember one of the first videos I did. I was doing it for my website, and I have the raw footage, and it's embarrassing looking at what I did even back then. So it's a struggle for a lot of people. And when I talk to dentists about how important videos are, I get the same answers. I'm just not comfortable doing videos. So I think there's an art, and I give a lot of credit to the people who spend so much time doing videos, such as if they're on TV, they're obviously in front of a camera all day long. But I think you have to really work on it and devote yourself to getting really comfortable in front of the camera.
You do. And one of the things we talk to about is, like a well-made meet the team or meet the doc video isn't 60 seconds of them to the camera talking, because honestly, nobody's going to watch that. It's boring. It's tedious. So cutting in B-roll footage, cutting in those shots of here I am interacting with a patient, here I am talking to someone on the team, knowing that stuff is going to be there can be helpful for the comfort level too, because although yes, you're going to be talking, answering all these questions, knowing that it's not going to be a video of just you to camera is very helpful for the psyche. Knowing, okay, that weird moment where I poke myself in the eye, we're going to put B-roll footage over that and nobody's going to see it. We really only need the opening intro and the closing to be to camera. Everything else can be filled in with B-roll.
Gotcha. So let's talk about you mentioned the Meet the Team, you mentioned Meet the Doc. What are some of the most important videos that a practice should have available for various uses?
Okay, so definitely, obviously, meet the doc. And if you have a multi-doctor practice, every doc gets their own video. It shouldn't be a meet the doctor team, because that's who's going to be treating your patients. Those are the stories that really need to be told in a little more depth. So every doctor gets a meet the team video. Meet the doc video. For meet the team, you have a couple of different options. If you're a small practice and there's, let's say, 3 or 4 team members, one meet the team video is fine. We can get everybody covered. But I've certainly worked with practices where there's 12, 15 people on the team, and we've broken that out into maybe meet the clinical team and meet the admin team, or meet the hygiene, meet the assistants, meet the admin. One of my practices, their team was so big, they opted to do, and this was really smart, one meet the team video that the 2-camera, the people who were actually interviewed, were their team leads, and then the B-roll footage was the rest of the team. That's also helpful, because if you're spending on professional video and you've got turnover on a large team, you don't have to worry about, I got to reshoot all my videos now because Tina's in them. Your team leads are the people who are usually sticking around. So that was a good way to approach that. So definitely those. Quick side note on Meet the Team. The most commonly clicked on page on a dental website, besides the homepage, isn't Meet the Doc, it's Meet the Team. So people really want to know who's on your team. Let them tell their story. That's definitely one not to skip. I would also love for you to do patient testimonials. And again, you can do individual ones as patients come in, post those to YouTube, post them on your social platforms. But I would love a produced 2, 3, 4 patients in one video. So it's a series of testimonials that lives on your website.
Patient testimonials.
So
Patient
those
testimonials
two
are super important. I actually call, and I don't know if you even know this, I actually rename them. I don't call them patient testimonials. I call them trustimonials, because they create trust with your patients. And so that was a term I coined many years ago. And so when Ross Bernstein was giving us the keynote at SCN, I went up to him afterwards, and we knew a couple of people. We have mutual friends, so we were talking, and I said, you talk about how important video testimonials are, and you take them at your meetings that you keynote. I said you should call them video trustimonials. He goes, I love that, but that's your term. I was like, okay,
It's okay, Ross. You can pay me a fee every time you use it.
I like the term trustimonials, because they really create trust between the office, the patients that are coming in the office, and if they trust you, they buy from you. That's why I love that term.
Absolutely. Well, and what it is too is you know the patients in your practice. Every practice has those patients who've been with them forever who will willingly do that. It's easy to write a review, but a patient who's willing to sit and talk to the camera about how good you are really is like 1,000 good written reviews. Because everyone knows it's not comfortable to be in front of a camera. So seeing a patient willing to do that for you speaks volumes for the quality of your practice, because a patient did that. So I love a patient testimonial. I also would love a video walkthrough of your practice. Show me a tour. Take me from the front door through your process. You've got that awesome cappuccino machine in the waiting room. Let me see that. Take me across the front desk so I see those players I met and meet the team. Just walk me through that patient experience as I come in the front door, just so I get a sense of the building I'm walking into. People really like that. Other ones I like to see people do are key services. And you know what they are. Those are the things that you love to do. They're usually often the most profitable things that you do. So something about veneers, something about Invisalign, something about your big services. If you've got a CEREC machine, heck, I want to see that. And show me what it is. Talk to me about it. Again, it doesn't have to be you on camera. You could be talking about it while you're showing the machine doing its magic. But all of those things just buy into, why should I go to this practice? Well, look at their technology. Look at the services they provide. Look how fun these people are. Those are all reasons that as a patient, I'm going to make a decision to come to that practice.
I think those are all really good test or videos to use to promote your practice. I really do. What about where you use them? Let's skip over to that, because now that we're recording them, Obviously,
Sure.
you want to get them on your website. So I have a question there, but we'll get to that in a second. Where do you want to use them? Obviously, there's multiple places. So talk about the most important places that you want to get the videos out to.
Sure. So for those ones that we just talked about, which I call the evergreen videos because you're going to have them for a while, those definitely need to live on the website. And logically, on the Meet the Doc page, on the Meet the Team page, most dental practices have some sort of testimonial page, so that testimonial video can live there. I also like for them to take some of that B-roll footage and create a hero loop. And you've seen these. They're often the banner at the top of a website. So it's just a continuous loop of shots in the practice. Not dialogue, it's nobody speaking to camera. It's just sort of giving you the vibe in the practice. It can have music behind it, but it doesn't have to be. And that should, again, live right there on the home page. It's another one of those things that helps Google love your page. And then I would like to see those evergreens hosted on a YouTube channel. And I would like them shared on your social platforms. Now, some of them obviously might be longer than the 60 seconds that, say, an Instagram likes, but we can always do snips of them. We can do, for example, just a little clip from a video and then point people to the website or the YouTube channel. And obviously, that's always the role of social media anyway. When we're dealing with getting our message out to patients, we don't know where a patient follows us. Like, as an example, I am a hardcore Instagram user. I'm on there every day, but I'm really not a Facebook person. I never have been. So if someone wanted to reach me, they'd need to be on Instagram. But pointing me from Instagram either to their YouTube channel or their website would get me to engage with them in those other places. So that's a good use of snips of your videos to get people to come watch the bigger story in the places where you're hosting the full videos.
Gotcha. So what about I don't want to say it's a myth because I know I've had somewhat issues myself. What about the speed of the site when it comes to these videos? Obviously, I know a lot of people will probably wonder what I'm talking about here if you're not familiar. But if you host them on YouTube, you want to basically, you don't host them on the website. You host them on YouTube and then you use the stream code on the website. Mm-hmm. So what about how does it affect the site speed? Because I know there's a lot of issues with the slowdown of the videos affecting the performance of the website.
Right. So, and that really came into effect over the past year when Google really started to focus on your core web vitals and your first meaningful paint and how long it takes there to be content on your site. The biggest thing is you don't want those videos to automatically play other than the hero video. The hero video is just a loop that doesn't take up a lot, but any of those other videos should be where the patient clicks on it to play it. Auto-playing self-load videos are what really slows down a website tremendously, and you don't want anything that does that. Also, people find that annoying because if they're scrolling on their phone when they're not supposed to be, say, in a meeting or something, you don't want your video to suddenly come up and be something that's loud or that's playing. You want to have them the option to click on it when they see that there's a video there. I mean, I know my own website is covered in video, but nothing self-loads, nothing automatically plays. The option was there, but I was like, no, it slows it down and it's irritating to people, quite honestly. But having 5-6 videos hosted on the site, and again, to your point, using kind of that YouTube, although I certainly see them embedded all the time, has not affected core web vitals. It's not creating an issue in Google search because it's not dinging them for speed.
No, that makes a lot of sense.
We may have gotten a little nitty gritty there, but that's something I talk about with clients too, is how is your site performance?
That makes a lot of sense. And then I know there's other sites other than YouTube. Obviously Vimeo is another site. What do you say about putting videos on Vimeo?
So I treat Vimeo kind of the way I treat Pinterest and TikTok. And my explanation there is if your patients are there or your prospective patients are there, it's worth the effort. But the chances that your prospective patients are on some of those platforms are much slimmer than them being on the mainstays. I mean, let's face it, YouTube is the second most popular search engine in North America. People are using it every day. Every time you type, how do I, it's probably going to show you a video. So being in a place where you know your prospective patients are is what's important. And what I've learned in working with clients is I need to give them 3 or 4 things that they will absolutely do, not 10 things that they could do, because those other things won't happen. So folks like you and I may be touching Vimeo on a regular basis, but your average patient probably isn't, especially someone who's not necessarily interested in video or marketing, just like your average patient isn't looking for dental issues on Pinterest. So I tell my clients, don't spend a lot of time on these other platforms until you've mastered the primary ones. Be amazing at the core stuff, and then you can branch out and diversify.
Sounds good to me. I agree with everything you said there. And then the other question I wanted to come into is how often should you be pushing out videos, or do you recommend a video blog? Do you recommend a video newsletter? Obviously there's multi-purposes for these videos. So, do you recommend having creating a tip of the week, or how do you recommend it, depending on how comfortable the dentist is? I mean, look, you can set up as I showed you here, I have a 35 or a mirrorless camera that I'm doing recording with, but you can simply use your phone nowadays and get some really good quality video out of it. So, what are your recommendations there for someone who is very comfortable in front of the camera and wants to produce content?
Sure. So anytime that you can show up regularly, people start looking for you, and that's a great thing you can do for your brand. So if you are comfortable, you've already gotten your evergreens out of the way, you've got them posted in all the right places, be present at least weekly with video content. And it might be a Tuesday tips, or, I have one practice that does an Ask the Hygiene, and every week she answers a patient question, and people can DM it to her from Instagram, or they can email it to the office, or whatever they want to do, but she'll address a question every week, and people get used to it. They know on Thursday, Leslie's going to do her answer a patient question. So people are used to seeing it. She's begun now doing it as a live, and then it saves to her Instagram TV. So if you're somebody who's comfortable, use all those places. You can do a live video for as long as you want and then put clips of it in your feed. If you do something under 60 seconds, you can just make it part of your feed. Video stories, to me, are the greatest way to stay right in front of somebody. Because if you're following, let's say, 100 plus people, how much scroll can you do? I mean, really, after a while, the thumb hurts and you're not going to see everything. But the stories are all right there at the top, and you're more likely to just click that. And once you click one, they all autoplay. So your chances of your video being seen in story format are higher than if you just put it into your feed. And if you really love it, you can always save it to your highlights if it's one you want to keep. For example, the hygienist answering her weekly questions, she can keep adding that to highlights. So one of their highlights is Leslie answers patient questions.
That makes a lot of sense. So what about imaging or brand image for the practice? How does all this kind of play a role in that? Because obviously there are some practices who are very put together and have one single brand image. There are other practices that you go in and everybody's dressed mishmash. There's no branding at all. How do you think the videos kind of connects all this together?
So I think, like we talked about at the top of this, your video has to tell your story. So maybe you're a pedo practice and you've got Disney and Marvel characters, although it's all Disney now, all of your walls. Your videos should tell that same story. I don't want a doctor in that practice to give me a very precise, button down, this is why I went to dental school, because it doesn't reflect that vibe of that practice. But I have a prosthodontist who I work with in Princeton, and it would have been ridiculous for him to be doing this, hey, here we are in Princeton, because that's not their vibe. He's a board certified prosthodontist. His should be about why I'm a prosthodontist, why that's different than a general dentist, and tell me a more technical story. So whether it's the brand image itself, and like you said, sometimes you walk into a practice and everybody has on the sleek black scrubs and they're embroidered with the brand and everyone looks the same and they match the decor, and that's exactly what the business card looks like, and that's what their videos should look like. But if you've got a practice that maybe doesn't have their brand image really together yet or really consistent, the most important part is that the videos tell the story of the vibe of the practice. what's it going to feel like when I come in? Is it going to be a fun place? Is it going to be a buttoned down place? Your practice might be chaos. And, for some people, chaos is kind of what they're used to. They've got 7 kids at home. Going to a chaotic dental office is actually calmer than the 7 kids at home. So maybe a little bit of that melee of your practice is okay in your videos if that's who I'm going to meet when I show up at the door. And for me, that's the biggest thing about delivering on the brand promise. Don't be someone on video who you won't be when I actually walk into practice.
So I want to start moving over to our little fun section of the podcast, which is the Would You Rather section. But before we finalize everything, is there anything else that you felt was important to cover regarding the video content, the information that we provided the guests?
So one thing that I am always asked, and it always comes up, is how do I dress for my videos? And it goes right back to that brand promise. What do you wear when I come to the practice? If you wear a suit and tie and a white lab coat, then that's what you should be wearing in your videos. But if you practice in bright purple scrubs, then that's what should be in your videos. If you were talking to me today in my office, I would be dressed like this, and so that's how I'm dressed today. I might be wearing polka dots if I wanted to be really on brand, but wear what you're going to wear when they meet you. Again, don't be someone you're not just for the purpose of video.
Because I think people sometimes overdo it, and they make it seem like it's a stuffy office because they're on video, and actually it's a very relaxed atmosphere, and it's very different, and they give off the wrong image. So I think that's a really good tip, because I've seen it the other way around. So that's really, really good. Anything else before we go into the Would You Rather?
I don't think so. I think that I just want people to make videos. That's really my biggest thing. If it doesn't come out right, the beauty of all these little devices we have is just delete it and do it again. You can edit out the parts you don't like, but the more you do them, even little one-off ones, the more you'll get comfortable doing them. Do my favorite first one. This is my one last thing I will share. My favorite first get comfortable making a video is if you do take-home whitening in your practice. Take the person who does that in your practice, probably an assistant, might be a hygienist, the person who would give me my trays when I show up to pick them up and teach me how to load them, and have them do that. Take your phone, iPhone, whatever phone, focus on their face, have them say, "Hi, I'm so-and-so, and I'm going to show you how to load your whitening trays," and then drop the camera down to their hands, because their hands are showing us what we need to do. Takes the pressure off the person who's talking and explaining, because it's not on their face, and it's something they've done 100 times, so they're super comfortable doing it. So that is the easiest.
I did have one question. I was talking to Angela Maroney. I don't know if you met her at SCN. So she's very big into video as well.
Of course,
and I showed her some videos I did, and she talked about looking directly into the camera, and on the iPhone the camera is not, if you look into the camera, it's like almost off center almost. So what is your recommendation for that?
So again, this comes down to comfort level. I totally get, as long as we've been talking, I've been trying to look into the camera frequently, but it is our nature to look at humans. So now I'm looking at you. We want to interact with a person, not this black thing mounted to the top of my computer. So I think 2 camera is useful for a point. So if I'm saying a number of things, but I want you to get this part, I can look right at the camera, and then I can look at whoever I'm talking to. That actually has more impact.
Because I'm looking at you now
the whole time,
and I'm not looking in the camera. The camera's up here. And it looks weird. So, and especially when I wear glasses, there's such a reflection in the screen, so it's harder for me. So I have to look. So I'm never looking at the camera, basically. So,
exactly.
Great. All right. So let's jump in, and we'll give people your contact information in a couple of minutes, so they can contact you, find out more, how they can get some information about your book and everything else. Cool. So for those that are not familiar, I've started doing a little section at the end of these podcasts called Would You Rather. I interview the guests. There's nothing inappropriate asked, though, for those that are wondering what I'm going to be asking. But I have a program, and it's hard to see, but these are now electronic. I used to have actual physical decks here, but they started to get a little monotonous, and it was the same questions, but I have all these decks. So there's an app for those who are interested in doing something like this called Pod Decks, where you ask these questions. So we're still going to use the same process. It's called Would You Rather. So we're going to go over 10 questions here, Laura, okay? So,
Yikes.
excuse me. First one. Would you rather ride the scariest roller coaster in the world or bungee jump off the tallest bridge in the world?
The roller coaster.
Okay. Me, it would be neither. I am not a fan of heights. I don't like roller coasters. I would never do that. Okay. Would you
Yeah, there's something inherently scary about bungee jumping.
Yeah,
I just no.
Just thinking that thing may snap on you, no chance. So.
Yeah, exactly right. I'm probably not going to die on a roller coaster.
Would you rather humble yourself and become a janitor or a dishwasher?
Dishwasher.
Dishwasher. Okay.
Yeah.
Would you rather spend the day with Bob Marley or Martin Luther King Jr.?
Oh, wow. Are there cocktails involved?
Well, sure.
Then Bob Marley, just for the vibe, but yeah.
Would you rather eat caramel-coated apples or chocolate-dipped strawberries?
Chocolate dipped strawberries all day.
Okay. Here's an interesting question. Would you rather give up coffee for a year or go without brushing your teeth for a year? Terrible.
Okay, so as a recent convert to coffee, I would give up coffee.
Okay. I figured that.
If you had said wine, it would have been a tough call.
Okay. Would you rather have an app that can hypnotize people or force them to tell the truth?
Oh, this probably reflects poorly on me, but hypnotized people.
Okay. This is interesting because these are new, so I have to read them before I actually say them. Okay, would you rather have Morgan Freeman narrate your life out loud for everyone to hear, or have a theme song played wherever you walk?
Oh, theme song, totally. I totally love theme song. Just jump
all right,
into
let's
it.
see. All right, so Jason's your husband, right? So he was at SCN and he won that.
Yep.
He won that one thing at the question and answer thing we did. So okay.
Funny.
All right. Would you
funny.
rather have your significant other that's too flirty or complains too much?
Too flirty.
Yeah, I don't like complainers.
Yeah. Nobody knows that.
Okay, here's another one. Would you rather have, and I don't know if you're a candy eater from the 80s or 90s, would you rather have Fun Dip or Pixie Sticks?
Pixie sticks.
Because
I don't have to get in my fingers.
I don't like that one. No, I don't like that one either. Nope, don't like that one. No.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
The scary
Here's
section.
a dental one. So, would you rather get dentures or wear braces on your teeth for the rest of your life?
Wow. So the clinical versus the vanity for me. So obviously, if my dentures could be implant
100% go with
supported
that, yes.
dentures. Yeah, dentures.
Here's an easy one. Would you rather write a review on Google or Yelp?
Oh, Google.
I figured that would be the answer there.
You know my feelings on Yelp.
Okay. Would you rather sit in the front of a classroom or the back of the classroom?
The front. Yeah, I'm that nerd.
And one last one here. Let me find one more that's good. Nope, don't like that one. These are totally different than the other ones that I used to ask. So I've got to find. Okay. Would you rather be guaranteed perfect health for the next 10 years or guaranteed all your bills will be paid for the next 20 years?
Perfect health.
Okay.
Yeah, health. Because with health, I can make the money. With the money, I might not be healthy.
I like that. there's one that was in the other deck that I use all the time, which I really like. Would you rather give up search engines, all search engines, or would you rather give up your apps on your phone?
Mm-hmm. Wow. Probably apps on my phone, just because I use information so much. I think I'd have to keep the search engines.
Hey, we run our lives on search engines. We use search engines all day long. It would be hard to get that out. So I agree with that.
We do. That said, when I was waiting on you, I was playing Words with Friends, so I'm not sure what I would do with my spare time.
Okay, so tell people how they can, one, contact you, give you contact information. I know you were going to offer some type of download, so let them give that information to them as we wrap up.
Cool beans. So, again, getting started with video, I know it's a weird, different thing. So I'm providing 2 downloads for anybody who's listening to the podcast today. One is a model release form, which you want to use for all your patient testimonials. You want to get the okay from patients. So there'll be a copy of that you can customize with your brand logo and info at the top. And I'm also going to provide a shot list. So if you are going to take the time and make your Meet the Doc, Meet the Team, those kinds of videos, what I'm going to let you download is it takes you through a full day of the sorts of shots you want to capture and the most cohesive order to get that done so you can create your evergreen videos. And you will be able to get that at workingcat.pro/video podcast. So workingcat.pro/video podcast. The website in general is workingcat.pro. You can learn about what we do there. I have a 6 CE eligible course on all things marketing called From Found to 5 Stars. And you can learn about our other done-for-you services like video production if you decide you want to have it professionally done. And you can learn a little bit about the book there too. And there's also a contact me page.
Okay, and if someone wants to email you, do you have an email for them too?
That would be Laura at WorkingCat.pro.
Laura at WorkingCat.pro. So, Laura, thank you so much for giving us your professional expertise in video marketing. So, guys, today, video is one of the marketing things that I think freaks people out the most. We use it every day. It has to become the norm, but it's way outside everybody's comfort zone for most practices. So I think Laura can help you take the scary out of it and help reassure people as well. So I think she hopefully provided you tips that you can use and start taking video to the next level in your practice. So, Laura, thank you for joining me. If you enjoyed this episode, please make sure you share it on the social channels. Please let your colleagues know about it. Please like it. Please review us. Please subscribe to the Raving Patients Podcast. It's available on all the podcasting networks, so it should be pretty easy to find. If you want to be a guest, please email me as well. My contact information is always available. I'm very visible online, so you should be able to get a hold of me as well. And as I always end these podcasts, remember, your reputation matters. Until the next episode, thanks very much again for joining me, and we'll talk to you soon.